The biggest surprise about $2,000 for millions of Americans is finally out as White House official confirms $2,000 tariff checks are finally planned. It is a great news for millions of Americans who are waiting for these $2,000 checks, and you need to understand that these $2,000 checks, you can call them dividends or stimulus check, is indeed a lifeline for millions of struggling Americans. And also remember that when it comes to the eligibility and timeline, we finally have the details about it, so make sure you stay with us till the end to know each and everything about this massive lifeline. But before I begin, all I need is just a little favor. It takes 2 seconds to please hit that like button on this video. So without any further ado, let's begin. So let's start with $2,000 checks for millions of Americans, and the good news is that White House official finally confirms $2,000 tariff checks are planned, but potential roadblocks are ahead, and these are not huge things because remember, not just Republicans, not just President Trump, but also Democrats are supporting this $2,000 check as well. I'm gonna tell you about it in just a minute, but look at this first. President Donald J. Trump is still working on a plan to deliver tariff-funded stimulus check to Americans, even as questions intensified over whether Congress would support the plan. And you know why a number of lawmakers as well as a number of Republicans are now saying that these checks are coming to millions of Americans? Because President himself confirmed these $2,000 checks, and I'm talking about this. Well, if you missed this tweet, then this is important. President Trump posted this on Truth Social just a few days ago, and he said, "People that are against tariffs are fools. We are now the richest, most respected country in the world with almost no inflation and a record stock market price. 401ks are highest ever. We are taking in trillions of dollars and will soon begin paying down our enormous debt, $37 trillion. Record investment in US, plants and factories going up all over the place, a dividend of at least $2,000 a person." Yes, it's $2,000 a person, not including high income people, will be paid to everyone. So there are a couple of things that you need to know. First, this $2,000 check will go to each individual, means for each adult and each dependent, and it's only for US citizens. Well, after this very important post, a reporter asked President Trump about these $2,000 checks, and this is what President Donald J. Trump said.
We're going to issue a dividend to our middle income people and lower income people of about $2,000. And we're going to use the remaining tariffs to lower our debt. We're going to be lowering our debt, which is a national security thing.
$2,000 checks are going to millions of Americans, said by President Donald J. Trump. And he also said that we are going to take care of this national debt because it's indeed a national security issue. But you need to understand that $2,000 check for low and middle income Americans means that the people who make $100,000 and less. And if you are someone who make $100,000 or less, or you make no income at all, or you are on a fixed income such as Social Security, disability, veterans benefits, then you are going to be eligible for this $2,000 check. And right after this is what President Donald J. Trump wrote. Well, all money left over from the $2,000 payments made to low and middle income US citizens from the massive tariff income pouring into our country from foreign countries, which will be substantial, will be used to substantially pay down national debt. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Well, initially, like 3 to 4 months ago, if you remember, when President Donald J. Trump talked about these $2,000 checks, he emphasized on the fact that US has $37 trillion worth of debt, and with this tariff money, we are going to pay down the debt. But suddenly, after the NYC elections, and of course about the recent elections, Republican Party faced a lot of hurdles, and a number of analysts and experts are saying this is why President Donald J. Trump is now talking about these $2,000 checks to millions of Americans. But recently a reporter asked Caroline Levitt that, what do you think White House is doing about these $2,000 checks that President Donald J. Trump announced? And this is what Caroline Levitt said.
Should U.S. Citizens expect a $2,000 proposal? Is the White House committed to making that happen?
The White House is committed to making that happen, yes. And we are currently exploring all legal options to get that done. I don't have a timeline for you or any further details, but I can confirm for you that the president made it clear he wants to make it happen. And so his team of economic advisors are looking into it. And when we have an update, we'll provide one.
The White House is committed to send these $2,000 checks to millions of Americans, announced by President Donald J. Trump. And we are analyzing all the possible economical as well as legal options to send these $2,000 checks to millions of Americans. Look at this. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick said in an interview on Monday that Trump's proposal for a $2,000 rebate check is still in the works, so finally they are working towards it. However, speculation around the proposal has intensified after several Republican members of Congress expressed doubts about the checks. Well, do you know that President Donald J. Trump recently said that these checks will come in the middle of next year? And a number of analysts and experts are saying that the reason President Trump will send these checks in the middle of next year is going to be a political stunt, because it's right before the midterm election, and President Trump will regain the trust of American people with these $2,000 checks. What do you think about this statement? Do you agree with it? Let me know in the comments below. And do you support these $2,000 checks to millions of low and middle income Americans who make $100,000 and less, or who are on a fixed income or make no income at all? If you do, then write in the comment section, I support $2,000 check. Again, if you support it, then write in the comment section, I support $2,000 check, because remember, if you don't do anything, nothing will happen. Moving on with the details, the president got that on his desk. I know that's something he wants to achieve. His legislative team will figure out the best way to do it, Lutnick said in a statement. And one more thing that you need to understand: when it comes to these $2,000 checks, a number of people have doubts in their mind, and the reason is simple. That if you remember, just few months ago, President Trump and Elon Musk both announced $5,000 worth of Doge stimulus checks to millions of Americans, and what happened to those checks? They never materialized, and it feels like it disappeared in thin air. Well, no one is talking about those checks, and suddenly President Trump talking about these $2,000 checks. According to a number of analysts and experts, this is just a political stunt, and that's why a number of Americans are confused and they have doubts in their mind that President might not send these checks to Americans. What do you think about it? Let me know in the comments below. Well, at the same time, in the midst of everything, I actually started a poll on the Credit Viral show, and I asked this question: that is President Trump going to send $2,000 checks to Americans? Well, it got 648 votes, and 65% Americans said that yes, President Trump will send these $2,000 checks to Americans, while 35% of them said that no, President Donald J. Trump will not send these checks to Americans. So let me know in the comments below, what is your point of view about it? There's huge confusion. No one is actually telling us the truth that what's going to happen. But one thing is for sure, that when it comes to these checks are super important for millions of Americans, and they are waiting for these checks. And the reason is simple, that millions of Americans are unable to put 3 meals a day for themselves and their loved ones because of this worst inflation. And the problem is that no one is accepting the fact that inflation is here. Trump administration officials have said that the proposal would need approval from Congress, which could take form of a so-called reconciliation bill similar to the One Big Beautiful Bill Act passed earlier this year. When it comes to this One Big Beautiful Bill, the president had no hurdles, so it seems like that when it comes to this $2,000 check bill to millions of Americans, you can call it dividend check or stimulus check or tariff rebate check, it will not be a problem for this Congress to pass, because not just Republicans but Democrats are also supporting this $2,000 for a different reason. According to Democrats, inflation is here, people are struggling, that's why these $2,000 checks should go to Americans, while on the other hand, President Trump and Republicans are saying that these $2,000 checks will go to Americans because US is receiving billions and billions of dollars from these reciprocal tariffs that President Donald J. Trump placed on almost every country in the world, and that's why these $2,000 checks are coming to Americans real soon. What do you think about this whole situation? Let me know in the comments below. And do you know that you can save around $1,100 when it comes to your Medicare plan? That's why I partnered with Chapter, where you can get unbiased help from a real person absolutely free. Call the number on the screen today, 212-461-4492. Again, the number is 212-461-4492, and get the help that you deserve absolutely free. If you have any questions at all, then please let me know in the comments below, and I'll be happy to answer each and every question of yours, as Credit Viral channel will always be with you in your good and difficult times. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video very soon. Till then, please take care and have a nice day.